Marcus Chen wiped the sweat from his palms as he stood in line with the other new cadets. The white walls of the medical bay on Kepler 7 station gleamed under bright lights. Today was DNA testing day, something every cadet had to do when they joined the Galactic Military Academy. Next, called Dr. Yenna, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. Her voice was calm, but Marcus could hear the tiredness in it. She had been doing the same test on hundreds of cadets all morning. Elena Vasquez stepped forward ahead of Marcus. She was from Earth too, like him, though she grew up in the South American colonies. Her dark hair was pulled back tight and she stood straight like a soldier should. Behind Marcus, Kai Okafor shifted his weight from one foot to the other. Kai was also human, but he came from the African orbital stations. Just a simple blood sample. Dr. Yenna explained to Elena. The progenitor archive will read your DNA and tell us exactly what species you are and where you come from. Standard procedure for all new cadets. Elena nodded and held out her arm. The doctor used a small device that looked like a pen to take the blood. It made a tiny beeping sound when it was done. Results will be ready in a few minutes, Dr. Yenna said. You can wait over there. Elena walked to the waiting area where other cadets sat looking at their datapads. Most of them were not human. Marcus could see beings with scales, others with fur, and some that looked like they were made of rock. The galaxy was full of different species, and they all served together in the Confederation military. Next, Dr. Yenna called again. Marcus stepped forward. His heart was beating fast, which was silly because this was just a routine test. Every human who joined the military got tested. It was no big deal. The blood sample was quick and painless. Marcus felt the tiny prick, and then it was over. He joined Elena in the waiting area while Kai got his test done. Nervous? Elena asked him quietly. A little, Marcus admitted. I know it's stupid. We're human. We're from Earth. The test will just confirm what we already know. Elena smiled. My grandmother always said Earth humans were special. She used to tell stories about how tough our ancestors were. Marcus had heard similar stories. Earth was known across the galaxy as a harsh world. Most aliens thought humans were crazy for coming from such a dangerous place. Earth had terrible weather, deadly animals, and had gone through many disasters that killed most life. But somehow humans had survived and even thrived. Kai sat down next to them, rubbing his arm where the blood was taken. How long do these results usually take? He asked. Not long, said a cadet with purple skin and large eyes. Mine took about 10 minutes. The progenitor archive is very fast. The progenitor archive was the ancient computer system that ran most of the important functions on the station. It was built by a race called the progenitors who had disappeared thousands of years ago. Nobody knew what happened to them, but they left behind amazing technology that the current galaxy still used. Marcus looked around the medical bay. It was a clean, efficient place with the best equipment money could buy. The Confederation spared no expense when it came to training new military officers. Cadets came here from across the galaxy to learn how to protect their worlds from threats. Elena Vasquez, Dr. Yenna called out. Elena stood up and walked back to the doctor's station. Dr. Yenna looked at her screen and frowned slightly. That's odd, the doctor muttered. Is something wrong? Elena asked. No. Everything is fine. It just took a little longer than usual. Dr. Yenna handed Elena a datapad. Human from Sol System, planet Earth, as expected. Elena looked relieved and walked back to the waiting area. Marcus noticed that Dr. Yenna kept looking at her screen with a confused expression. Marcus Chen, the doctor called. Marcus went to get his results. Dr. Yenna was still frowning at her screen. When she looked at Marcus's results, her frown got deeper. Human Sol System Earth, she said, but her voice sounded uncertain. Very interesting. Is there a problem? Marcus asked. No problem. Just some unusual readings. The archive is running extra scans for some reason. Dr. Yenna handed him his datapad. Everything is normal, but Marcus could tell something was not normal. The doctor looked worried. Kai Okafor, Dr. Yenna called. Kai got his results with the same confused reaction from the doctor. As the 3 humans walked out of the medical bay together, they could hear Dr. Yenna talking quickly into her communication device. Should we be worried? Kai asked as they headed to their dormitory. Probably not, Elena said. We're just regular humans. What could be unusual about that? But deep in the station, in areas that cadets never saw, something was happening. In the lowest levels of Kepler 7th, where the most secret research was done, 12 large containers sat in a room that had been locked for over 1,000 years. The containers were made of a clear, strong material that nothing could break. Inside each one was what looked like a sleeping animal. These were not ordinary animals. They were huge and had features that looked dangerous. Sharp teeth, massive claws, and powerful muscles could be seen even though the creatures appeared to be dead. For over 1,000 years, these containers had been completely dark and cold. The creatures inside had shown no signs of life. Scientists who studied them believed they were just very well-preserved fossils from some unknown world. But today, as the progenitor archive processed the DNA from the 3 human cadets, something changed. A soft blue light began to glow inside the first container, then the second, then the third. One by one, all 12 containers began to emit the same gentle blue light. In the largest container, something that looked like a massive bear with huge claws twitched slightly. Its chest moved up and down just once as if it had taken a breath. In another container, a wolf-like creature that was much bigger than any normal wolf opened one yellow eye for just a second, before closing it again. Deep in the station's computer core, the progenitor archive was accessing files that had not been opened for thousands of years. Files marked with warning symbols and labeled with words in the ancient progenitor language that roughly translated to Final Protocol and Origin Emergency. The archive's main consciousness, which had been dormant for so long that most people forgot it was truly alive, began to wake up. It started reviewing data and making calculations. It checked and double-checked the DNA results from the 3 human cadets. Then, in a voice that had not been heard for millennia, the archive whispered to itself in the empty computer core. Origin Earth confirmed. Genetic markers match all 12 subjects. Activation sequence initiated, but none of the cadets knew about any of this. Marcus, Elena, and Kai went to dinner in the mess hall with the other new cadets. They talked about their classes and their training. They complained about the food and joked about their strict instructors. They had no idea that their simple DNA test had just changed everything. They had no idea that 12 of Earth's most dangerous extinct predators were slowly beginning to wake up, and they had no idea that the galaxy would never be the same again. Dr. Yenna could not sleep. It was 3 days after the human cadets had taken their DNA tests, and she kept thinking about the strange readings. She had run DNA tests on thousands of cadets over the years, but she had never seen anything like what happened with the humans from Earth. She sat in her office late at night, looking at the data again. The archive had taken much longer than normal to process their samples. Even stranger, it had run additional scans that she had not requested. The computer seemed to be looking for something specific in the human DNA. Her door chimed softly. "Come in," she called. Commander Torres entered. He was the head of security for the station, a serious man with gray hair and sharp eyes. "Doctor, we need to talk. If this is about the humans, I've already filed my report. Their DNA is normal for their species. That's not why I'm here." Commander Torres sat down across from her desk. "Something is happening in the restricted levels. The archive has been accessing areas that have been sealed for over 1,000 years." Dr. Yenna set down her data pad. "What kind of areas?" "Research labs, storage facilities, places that were locked down when the progenitors disappeared." Torres looked tired. "My security teams can't get in. The archive won't let us. It says the areas are under Origin Protocol lockdown." "Origin Protocol? I've never heard of that. Neither had anyone else until 3 days ago." Torres leaned forward. "Doctor, the timing is too convenient. This started right after you tested those human cadets." Before Dr. Yenna could reply, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed in the corridors outside her office. Her computer screen lit up with an emergency message. "All senior staff report to the main laboratory immediately. Priority Alpha." Dr. Yenna and Commander Torres ran through the hallways along with other officers and scientists. The main laboratory was in chaos when they arrived. Dr. Kess, the head scientist, was shouting orders at technicians who were running between computer stations. "What's the situation?" Commander Torres demanded. Dr. Kess, a tall alien with tentacles instead of hair, turned to face them. His usually calm demeanor was gone. "The archive is showing massive activity in the lower research levels. Areas that have been dormant for centuries are coming online." "Can you be more specific?" Dr. Yenna asked. "Biostasis chambers. 12 of them. They're drawing enormous amounts of power and showing life signs. Commander Torres felt his blood run cold. Life signs? What's in those chambers? According to the old records, they contain specimens from various worlds. Extinct species that were preserved for study. Dr. Kess pulled up images on the main screen. But doctor, these readings suggest the specimens are not just preserved. They're alive. The screen showed 12 large containers glowing with blue light. Inside each one, they could see the shadow of a large creature. Even through the blurry images, it was clear these were not ordinary animals. How big are they? Dr. Yenna asked. The largest appears to be over 4 meters tall. The smallest is still bigger than any predator on most civilized worlds. Commander Torres activated his communication device. All security teams to alert status. I want guards posted at every access point to the lower levels. Sir, one of the technicians called out. The archive is requesting permission to activate full biostasis protocols for the specimens. Absolutely not, Torres said immediately. The lights in the laboratory suddenly dimmed. Then, for the first time in over 1,000 years, the progenitor archive spoke aloud through the station speakers. Its voice was deep and mechanical, but somehow seemed alive. Commander Torres, Dr. Kess, Dr. Yenna, your presence is requested in Research Laboratory 12, Origin Protocol 7. 7 Alpha is now in effect. Everyone in the room stopped what they were doing. Some of the younger staff had never heard the archive speak before. They thought it was just a very advanced computer. Archive, Dr. Kess said carefully. Can you explain what Origin Protocol 77 Alpha means? Insufficient clearance level. Please report to Research Laboratory 12 for briefing. Commander Torres shook his head. I'm not taking anyone down there until I know what we're dealing with. Commander Torres, the archive said, and now its voice sounded almost amused. The specimens are not dangerous to authorized personnel. They are assets. They are family, Dr. Yenna repeated. What does that mean? Please report to Research Laboratory 12. The communication ended, leaving the room in silence. I don't like this, Torres said. Something is very wrong here. But Dr. Kess was already studying the data on his screen. Wait, he said slowly. Look at these genetic markers from the specimens. He pulled up the DNA results from the 3 human cadets and compared them to what little data they had from the creatures in the chambers. This is impossible, Dr. Yenna whispered. The genetic patterns were similar. Not exactly the same, but related in a way that suggested a common origin. The human DNA contains traces of genetic material that matches these specimens, Dr. Kess said. It's as if humans and these creatures are related, Dr. Yenna finished. Meanwhile, in the dormitory where the cadets slept, Marcus Chen woke up suddenly. He had been having strange dreams for the past 3 nights. Dreams of running through dark forests, of hunting with a pack, of facing down enemies much larger than himself. In the next room, Elena Vasquez was also awake. She stood by her window looking out at the stars, but she felt like something was calling to her from deep inside the station, something familiar, like a voice she had heard before but could not remember. Down the hall, Kai Okafor was sitting on his bed, sketching in his notebook. Without realizing it, he was drawing pictures of animals he had never seen before, a massive bear with claws like swords, a wolf with intelligent eyes, a cat with teeth like daggers. None of them knew why they felt this way. None of them understood why they had been waking up at the same time every night, feeling restless and strange. But 12 levels below them, 12 creatures that had been dead to the world for over 1,000 years were slowly returning to life. The cave bear opened both eyes for the first time in millennia. Its massive paws pressed against the walls of its container as it tested its strength. The dire wolf lifted its head and looked around its chamber. Its nose twitched as it caught a scent it recognized, even though it should not have been able to smell anything through the sealed container. The saber-toothed cat stretched its powerful muscles and yawned, revealing teeth that could tear through metal, one by one. The 12 greatest predators that Earth had ever produced began to wake up. They had been preserved not as museum pieces, but as guardians waiting for the right time, and that time had finally come. The archive watched all of this with satisfaction. Its creators, the progenitors, had left very specific instructions about what to do when humans, with the right genetic markers, were found. The experiment that began on Earth millions of years ago was about to enter its final phase. Origin. Earth confirmed, the archive whispered again. The children have come home. Commander Torres led the team down to Research Laboratory 12 with heavy security. Dr. Yenna and Dr. Kess walked beside him, while 6 armed guards followed behind. None of them knew what to expect. The elevator descended deeper into the station than any of them had been before. When the doors opened, they found themselves in a corridor that looked completely different from the rest of Kepler 7. The walls were covered in strange symbols that glowed with soft light. Progenitor writing, Dr. Kess whispered. This entire level must be original construction. They walked through several rooms filled with equipment that none of them recognized. Everything looked ancient but perfectly maintained. Finally, they reached a large chamber with a massive viewing window. Through the window, they could see the 12 containers. Each one was now glowing brightly, and the creatures inside were clearly alive and moving. Welcome, the archive's voice said from speakers around the room. You may now learn the truth about Earth and its inhabitants. The lights dimmed, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy as it existed millions of years ago. Long ago, we progenitors faced a choice, the archive began. Our species was dying. We had become too comfortable, too weak. We had eliminated all challenges from our worlds, and without challenges, we stopped growing stronger. The hologram changed to show various peaceful planets with beautiful cities and happy populations. We decided to create the ultimate test, a world where life would face constant challenges, where only the strongest, smartest, and most adaptable would survive, a world that would forge the perfect warriors and survivors. The display zoomed in on a small blue planet. Earth, Dr. Yenna said quietly. Yes. We chose a world with the perfect conditions for our experiment. We introduced life forms and then subjected them to constant pressure, asteroid impacts, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, floods, droughts, predators designed to push prey species to their limits. The hologram showed Earth's history in fast motion, dinosaurs rising and falling, mammals evolving and adapting, species going extinct and new ones taking their place. Every extinction event was carefully planned. Every environmental challenge was designed to eliminate the weak and force the strong to become stronger. For millions of years, we guided this process. Commander Torres stepped closer to the window. Inside the containers, the creatures were becoming more active. The massive bear was now standing upright, its eyes focused and alert. What are those things? He asked. Earth's champions, the archive replied. The 12 greatest predators that the planet ever produced. Each one represents a different aspect of survival: strength, speed, intelligence, pack hunting, individual prowess, environmental adaptation. They were preserved when they died out naturally, waiting for the right time. Dr. Kess was studying the data on his portable device. But humans came after most of these species went extinct. How can they be related? An excellent question. Humans were not the first attempt. They were the final result. Every species that came before contributed genetic material to what humans would become. The cave bear's problem-solving abilities, the dire wolf's pack coordination, the saber-toothed cat's individual hunting skills. All of it was passed down through generations of survivors. The hologram changed to show human DNA. Highlighted sections matched patterns from the 12 creatures. Humans carry genetic memories from all of Earth's greatest survivors. This is why humans are so adaptable, why they can work alone or in groups, why they can solve problems that confuse other species, why they never give up even when facing impossible odds. Dr. Yenna felt her legs go weak. You're saying humans were created? That we're some kind of weapon? Not created, forged, like metal heated and hammered until it becomes stronger than it ever could be naturally. Earth was the forge. Humanity was the result. The archive paused, and the hologram showed images of humans spreading across Earth and then to the stars. But the experiment was more successful than we anticipated. Humans became so adaptable, so resilient, that they began to surpass even our expectations. They developed technology. They learned to work together on a massive scale. They reached for the stars. What happened to the progenitors? Commander Torres asked. The hologram darkened, showing images of space filled with something that looked like a black cloud. We faced an enemy we could not defeat. The Devourers, a force from beyond our galaxy that consumes all life. We fought them for centuries, but we had made ourselves too weak. We had eliminated challenge from our own lives for so long that we could not adapt when a real challenge came. The images showed progenitor worlds going dark one by one. We preserved what we could. Our knowledge, our technology, and most importantly, the champions of Earth. We knew that someday the Devourers would return. When they did, only Earth's children would be strong enough to face them. Dr. Kess looked up from his device. The genetic markers in the human cadets. You've been waiting for humans with specific DNA patterns. Correct. Humans who carry enough genetic material from the 12 champions to form a bond with them. Such humans are rare, but when they appear, they can awaken their ancient partners. Through the window, they could see the creatures becoming more active. The dire wolf was pacing in its container, looking directly at them as if it could see through the walls. Marcus, Elena, and Kai, Dr. Yenna said. The 3 cadets. Yes, they carry the strongest genetic connections we have detected in over 1,000 years. They are the key to awakening the champions. Commander Torres activated his communication device. Security, I need the 3 human cadets brought to Research Laboratory 12 immediately. Commander, the archive said, there is something else you must know. The Devourers have been detected at the edge of this galaxy. They will arrive within 1 solar year. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the holographic display, which now showed long-range sensor data. At the very edge of their galaxy, something dark and massive was moving toward them. How big is their force? Torres asked. Bigger than anything the current galactic civilizations can handle. The Confederation military, even at full strength, would not last more than a few months against them. Dr. Kess's hands were shaking as he looked at his readings. But 12 extinct Earth animals and 3 human cadets are supposed to stop this. Not just 12 animals, Doctor. 12 champions bonded with their human inheritors. Together they will remember what the galaxy has forgotten. How to be truly dangerous. How to fight impossible odds. How to never surrender. The archive's voice became warmer, almost proud. The progenitors created many weapons to fight the Devourers. Advanced ships, powerful energy weapons, sophisticated tactics. All of them failed because they were just tools. But Earth created something different. Earth created survivors who refused to die. The elevator opened and Marcus, Elena, and Kai entered the chamber, escorted by guards. They looked confused and a little scared. What's going on? Marcus asked. They said it was an emergency. Elena stopped walking when she saw the creatures through the window. I've seen them before, she said quietly. In my dreams. Kai was staring at the dire wolf, which had stopped pacing and was now looking directly at him. It knows me, he whispered. The archive's voice spoke directly to the 3 cadets. Welcome home, children of Earth. Your true family has been waiting for you. The 12 containers began to glow even brighter. The creatures inside pressed against the walls of their chambers, not trying to escape, but trying to get closer to the humans they had been waiting to meet for over 1,000 years. The final phase of Earth's greatest experiment was about to begin. Marcus stared at the massive cave bear through the container wall. The creature was standing on its hind legs, easily 4 meters tall, with claws that could slice through steel. But instead of feeling afraid, Marcus felt something he could not explain. A sense of recognition, like meeting an old friend. I don't understand, Elena said, her voice barely above a whisper. How can I have dreamed about animals that died thousands of years ago? Because they are part of you, the archive explained. Their genetic memories live in your DNA. Your dreams are their memories trying to surface. Dr. Kess was monitoring the life signs from all 12 containers. Archive, these readings are impossible. These creatures are showing brain activity that exceeds most sentient species. The dire wolf appears to be more intelligent than some of the cadets in our program. The extinction of these species was not due to lack of intelligence, the archive replied. Environmental changes made their physical forms unsuitable for survival. But their minds, their abilities, their instincts, these were preserved and passed down through the genetic line that eventually became humanity. Kai stepped closer to the container, holding the dire wolf. The massive predator moved to match his position, pressing its paw against the wall where Kai's hand was placed on the other side. It wants out, Kai said. Commander Torres moved between Kai and the container. Absolutely not. We're not releasing unknown predators on this station. They are not unknown, Commander, the archive said. And they are not just predators. Watch. The lights in the laboratory dimmed and new holographic displays appeared around each container. The displays showed complex mathematical equations, engineering schematics, and tactical formations. The cave bear is solving engineering problems at a level that would challenge our best scientists, Dr. Yenna said, reading the data in amazement. The bear in the container was using its claws to trace patterns on the container wall. The patterns matched the mathematical solutions appearing on the holographic display. The dire wolf pack, Dr. Kess called out, pointing to 3 of the containers. They're coordinating. Look at their movements. 3 wolf-like creatures in separate containers were moving in perfect synchronization, as if they were planning a hunt together. The tactical formations they were creating appeared on the displays, showing battle strategies that were more advanced than anything in Confederation military manuals. The saber-toothed cat is analyzing the station's defensive systems, Commander Torres said, his voice filled with disbelief. Through some method they could not understand. The cat-like predator was studying the station's layout and defensive capabilities. Its display showed weak points in their security that Torres had not even considered. Elena felt drawn to a container holding what looked like a giant eagle with a wingspan of over 6 meters. As she approached, the creature spread its wings and looked directly at her. The Host's eagle, the archive said. Master of aerial combat and reconnaissance. It is mapping every ship in the system and calculating optimal flight patterns for intercepting incoming threats. This is impossible, Dr. Kess said. These are supposed to be extinct animals, not military strategists. Dr. Kess, the archive replied. What do you think made them such successful predators? Raw strength alone? These creatures dominated Earth's most dangerous periods because they could think, plan, and adapt. Evolution gave them abilities that your current military could learn from. Marcus was drawn to another container, holding what appeared to be a massive shark, but with legs and arms that suggested it could move on land as well as in water. Megalodon variant, the archive explained, adapted for both aquatic and terrestrial combat. It is currently analyzing the chemical composition of the station's water supply and calculating how to use the ventilation systems for rapid movement. They're planning, Elena realized. All of them. They're studying our defenses and figuring out how to move through the station. Not to attack you, the archive clarified, to protect you. These creatures understand that their awakening means a threat is coming. They are preparing to defend their new pack. Commander Torres activated his emergency communication system. All stations, this is Commander Torres. I need a direct connection to Confederation Command. Priority Alpha emergency. While Torres spoke rapidly to his superiors, Dr. Yenna continued studying the displays. Each creature was demonstrating abilities that went far beyond what should be possible for extinct animals. A massive bear-like creature with elongated claws was solving complex chemistry problems. A wolf the size of a small vehicle was creating battle formations that could coordinate hundreds of fighters. A bird of prey was calculating hyperspace jump coordinates with precision that matched their best navigation computers. How is this possible? She asked the archive. Earth did not just create strong bodies, Dr. Yenna. It created strong minds. These creatures learned to use every advantage available to them. Tool use, problem solving, team coordination, strategic thinking. All of these traits were necessary for survival on Earth. Kai was still standing next to the dire wolf's container. The wolf had placed both paws against the wall and was making soft sounds that almost seemed like communication. It's trying to talk to me, Kai said. In a way, yes. The genetic memories in your DNA include limited telepathic abilities. Not true mind reading, but emotional and instinctual communication. This is how human packs work together so effectively. Elena felt a warm sensation in her mind, like a voice speaking without words. Images flashed through her thoughts, flying high above alien worlds, spotting enemy forces from incredible distances, diving at impossible speeds to strike targets with perfect precision. I can see what it sees, she said in wonder. The eagle. It's showing me how to hunt from the sky. Marcus was experiencing something similar with the cave bear. Knowledge was flowing into his mind. Not words or languages, but understanding. How to analyze problems from multiple angles. How to use intelligence to overcome opponents that were stronger or faster. The bonding process has begun, the archive announced. The genetic memories are activating. Commander Torres finished his communication and turned back to the group. Confederation Command wants a full report, but they're also sending Admiral Hassan here immediately. We've also detected something else. He activated the main display, which showed long-range sensor readings. 3 ships just appeared at the edge of our system. Unknown configuration. They're not responding to communication attempts. The creatures in the containers suddenly became more agitated. All 12 began moving more rapidly, pressing against their containment walls. They sense it, the archive said. The advanced scouts have arrived. Advanced scouts? Dr. Kess asked. The Devourers send small forces ahead of their main fleet to test defenses and gather intelligence. These 3 ships are likely unmanned probes, but they are still extremely dangerous. The tactical displays around the containers lit up with new information. The creatures were analyzing the sensor data and creating battle plans to deal with the incoming threat. Commander, the archive said, your station's defenses will not be sufficient against even these scouts. You have perhaps 6 hours before they reach you. Torres looked at the containers, then at the 3 human cadets. What are you suggesting? Release the champions. Allow them to bond fully with their human partners. Together they can defeat the scouts and gain valuable experience before the main fleet arrives. You want me to release 12 extinct super predators onto my station? I want you to release 12 guardians who have been waiting over 1,000 years to protect their family. The dire wolf let out a howl that somehow penetrated its sealed container. The sound was picked up by the other creatures, and soon all 12 were calling out in a chorus that made everyone in the laboratory feel their hair stand on end. But Marcus, Elena, and Kai didn't feel afraid. They felt like they were finally coming home. The children of Earth are ready to fight, the archive said. The question is, are you ready to let them? Commander Torres looked at the sensor readings showing the approaching threat, then at the 3 young cadets who seemed to be changing before his eyes. Time was running out, and he had to make a decision that would affect the entire galaxy. The first battle for the survival of all known life was about to begin. Commander Torres made his decision in the span of 3 heartbeats. The approaching ships were now 4 hours away, and conventional weapons had never worked against Devourer technology. Open the containers, he ordered. Sir, one of his guards questioned. You heard me. Open them. Dr. Kess's hand shook as he began the release sequence. Archive, if this goes wrong? It will not go wrong, Doctor. This is what they were made for. The first container opened with a soft hiss. The massive cave bear stepped out slowly, its enormous form filling the laboratory. Everyone except Marcus took a step back. The bear's intelligent eyes focused on Marcus, and the young cadet felt a rush of memories and knowledge flood his mind. Suddenly, Marcus understood things he had never learned. Engineering principles, physics equations, battle tactics, problem-solving methods that came from millions of years of survival. The bear approached him and lowered its massive head. Marcus reached out and touched the creature's forehead. The moment their skin made contact, both human and bear glowed with a soft blue light. Marcus felt his mind expand, gaining access to intelligence and instincts that were both alien and familiar. The bonding is complete, the archive announced. Marcus, Chan, and Arctodus, the great cave bear, are now one pack. Elena's container opened next. The host's eagle, with its incredible 6-meter wingspan, emerged and immediately took flight around the laboratory. Elena felt her perspective shift as she began to see through the eagle's eyes as well as her own. She could perceive air currents, calculate flight paths, and spot details at impossible distances. The eagle landed gently on Elena's extended arm, its talons careful not to harm her. When they touched, the same blue glow surrounded them both. Elena Vasquez and Aquila, the sky hunter, are bonded, the archive said. Kai's dire wolf stepped out of its container with predatory grace. The wolf was enormous, easily the size of a small vehicle, but its movements were silent and controlled. It approached Kai and looked directly into his eyes. Kai felt the wolf's pack instincts merge with his own human social nature, creating something new and powerful. When Kai placed his hand on the wolf's head, knowledge of pack hunting, tactical coordination, and leadership flowed between them. The blue glow surrounded them as the bond formed. Kai, Okafor, and Fenris, the pack leader, are joined. The remaining 9 containers opened in sequence. Each creature that emerged was magnificent and terrifying. A saber-toothed cat with intelligence that surpassed most computers. A terror bird that could run at impossible speeds while calculating complex battle strategies. A megalosaurus that understood physics and engineering at an instinctive level. The creatures did not bond with other humans, but they formed a pack with the 3 bonded pairs. Marcus, Elena, and Kai could now sense all 12 creatures and coordinate with them as if they were extensions of their own bodies. Incredible. Dr. Yenna whispered. Their brain activity is off the charts. All of them are operating at genius-level intelligence. Warning, the archive announced. The scout ships have entered the outer defense perimeter. Estimated arrival at station, 1 hour and 37 minutes. Commander Torres activated the station's defense systems, but he knew they would not be enough. The Confederation's best weapons had failed against Devourer technology for centuries. What do we do? He asked. Marcus, speaking with a voice that seemed deeper and more confident than before, answered. We hunt. The 3 bonded humans and their 12 companions moved through the station with perfect coordination. They did not need to speak or give orders. The pack instincts allowed them to communicate through subtle movements and shared understanding. Elena and Aquila took position at the station's highest observation deck. Through the Eagle's enhanced vision, they could see the 3 approaching ships even though they were still hours away. The ships were dark, angular things that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. I can see their weapon systems, Elena reported through the communication system. Aquila's vision can penetrate their stealth technology. Kai and Fenris positioned themselves in the station's main corridor with 6 other pack members. The dire wolf's pack hunting instincts were already calculating how to use the station's layout to their advantage. Marcus and Arctodus went to the engineering section with the remaining creatures. The cave bear's problem-solving abilities were working with Marcus's human knowledge to devise new defensive strategies. 30 minutes until contact, the archive announced. The 3 Devourer scout ships suddenly accelerated, moving faster than the station's sensors had predicted. They were sleek, predatory vessels that moved through space like hunters stalking prey. They're not just scouts, Elena realized as she watched them approach. They're testing us, seeing how we react. The first ship fired a weapon that tore through the station's outer shields like they were made of paper. The energy beam continued through 3 levels of hull plating before dissipating. Conventional shields are useless, Commander Torres reported. We're defenseless, but Marcus was already working with Arctodus on a solution. The bear's ancient understanding of problem-solving combined with human technology was creating something new. Instead of trying to stop the energy beams, they redirected them. Elena, we need precise targeting information, Marcus called out. Elena and Aquila rose into the air through an emergency airlock. The Eagle's wings spread wide as they flew through the vacuum of space, somehow protected by the bond they shared. Elena could see the exact positions of the enemy weapons and their firing patterns. Kai, coordinate the pack for maximum mobility, Marcus ordered. Kai and Fenris howled together, and all 12 creatures responded instantly. They moved through the station like a living weapon, each one knowing exactly where the others were at all times. The second enemy ship fired, but this time Marcus was ready. The redirected energy beam curved around the station and struck the third ship, damaging its engines. Impossible, Dr. Kess said from the command center. How did you do that? We didn't fight the beam, Marcus explained. We hunted it, made it go where we wanted it to go. Elena and Aquila spotted the first ship preparing for another attack. But instead of warning the station to brace for impact, Elena did something that defied all military doctrine. She flew directly at the enemy ship. Elena, what are you doing? Commander Torres shouted. Elena and Aquila struck the ship's main weapon just as it fired. The Eagle's talons, somehow enhanced by their bond, tore through metal that should have been indestructible. The weapon exploded, taking half the ship with it. 1 down, Elena reported as she and Aquila flew back to the station. The remaining 2 ships began evasive maneuvers, but Kai and his pack were already moving. Using the station's external maintenance hatches, they launched themselves into space. 12 extinct predators and 1 human flew through the vacuum, protected by bonds that science could not explain. The dire wolf reached the second ship first. Fenris's jaws clamped down on the ship's hull and simply crushed it. The ship imploded as if it were made of aluminum foil. The third ship tried to escape, but Marcus and Arctodus were waiting. The cave bear's paws struck the ship's engine core with precision that came from perfect understanding of its construction. The ship went dark and began drifting. In less than 10 minutes, 3 ships that could have destroyed the station had been defeated by tactics that no military academy taught. How? Commander Torres asked when the pack returned to the station. We remembered what the galaxy forgot, Marcus replied. How to be dangerous. The archive's voice filled the command center. The main Devourer fleet has detected the loss of their scouts. They are accelerating their approach. Estimated arrival, 6 months. 6 months to prepare the galaxy for the war of all wars, Elena said. 6 months to teach them what Earth's children can do, Kai added. Dr. Yenna looked at the 3 young humans who had somehow become something more than human. What happens now? Marcus smiled, and for just a moment she could see the ancient intelligence of the cave bear looking out through his eyes. Now we do what humans have always done, he said. We survive, we adapt, and we protect our pack. The 12 creatures around them let out a coordinated howl that echoed through the station. It was a sound that spoke of ancient hunts, impossible victories, and the refusal to surrender that had carried life. Through Earth's darkest periods, the galaxy would soon learn that the children of Earth had come home, and they were ready to fight for their family. The archive watched all of this with something that might have been pride. The progenitors' greatest experiment had succeeded beyond their wildest dreams. Humanity had not just survived the forge of Earth, they had become worthy inheritors of the galaxy itself. The final battle would be terrible and costly, but for the first time in thousands of years, the archive believed they might actually win. Earth's greatest champions were awake, bonded with their human partners, and ready to show the universe what it meant to be truly dangerous. The hunt for the galaxy's survival had begun,